Listo. Excelente.
Here we go. Welcome back. Welcome back to Living in Mexico. I'm Ana Maria Salazar. Thank you. Thanks so much for joining us. Extraordinary news this week. And it's so, I never thought we would finally hear these words or this announcement coming from the World Health Association. But this week, the Emergency Committee met for the 15th time and recommended to the director to announce that, or to declare that the public health emergency of international concern of COVID-19 is no longer. And so he basically declared that COVID-19 is over as a global health emergency. Joining us today, and he's been joining us for the last 3 years, is Dr. Marcelo Rodriguez. It's so good to have you on the show. I believe you're still part of this special committee that was created at the UNAM to address the COVID-19 crisis. I don't know if that committee is still standing. Welcome to the show. Just put into context what this announcement means.
Hello, Ana Maria. Thank you for inviting me again. Yes, we're still working in a different basis. Now we are just checking the most relevant points, and definitely what we heard today is the announce of the WHO saying that the public health emergency of international concern is over. And that means that the emergency is over, but the menace still here. And that is very important to be clear. COVID-19 will not end tomorrow. And we will have COVID maybe for the rest of our lives. And we have to learn to live on a regular basis with COVID. And we are now sure that the emergency, the urgent phase is over, and that is something that we can celebrate, actually.
Yeah. Well, put into numbers. I think we need to celebrate. Yeah. We have to remember. Just put into numbers what happened.
There had been 1,150 days since the declaration of the pandemic, and 1,221 days since the first cases in China. And WHO has records of 65 million cases, 765 million cases, and 7 million deaths. In Mexico, we have 7.5 million cases, which we could assume that that real number is almost 100 million people that already had COVID, and 500 deaths. 500,000. Yeah, 500,000 deaths, 500,000 deaths.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. And each country has had its own pandemic, its own epidemic, with a different dynamic, with different resources, with different impact. And that's the first big lesson, that each country has to take the situation according to their reality.
Yeah. And that, I think that's because there was so much confusion 3 years ago as to what we needed to do. And I think that the big game changer, of course, was the vaccines.
Yeah.
And it's always been, we can spend the whole show talking about this whole process of how the vaccines eventually became the game changer. But it's still, I think one of the lessons learned is how this anti-vax culture really settled in, at least in the United States, and you continue to see it.
Yeah. We cannot put a number to describe that. I mean, how many deaths have happened because of the anti-vaccine movement, and because of the anti-vaccine speech, because actually here in Mexico, we heard experts on public health saying not to take some of the vaccines because they believed this is not good or something. I don't know why.
Right.
And we saw a war against CanSino vaccine, against Sputnik, against AstraZeneca, against Abdallah. And perhaps we should start listening those voices as an anti-vaccine speech. And it definitely, vaccines were the game changer.
Mhm.
And the other thing that changed the course of the pandemic was the appear of viral variants.
Right.
That was, shocking. In the summer of 2021, when we saw the Delta variant, we said, okay, this won't be easy. Even when we have already millions of people vaccinated, we have to take like a step back to protect again. And we had the third wave and the fourth, fifth, and sixth wave. And
Right.
that was because of the variants.
There was just so many people that died. And
Yeah.
I think, I think there's very few people out there who don't know, who did not have a family member or someone close to them die.
Definitely.
Are we ready for the next pandemic? It doesn't seem so.
No, we are not, and we must be prepared. Actually, we should have new protocols, new strategy. At least we could imagine something like COVID and try to be more prepared. And for Mexico, we should start thinking on biotechnology, and we should start thinking enforcing the biotechnology. We need a huge investment in biotechnology in order to have equipment for personal protection, drugs, vaccines, diagnostic tests. And if we don't have biotechnology, we will not, we will be in the same position than before the COVID pandemic.
Crisis.
And that would be a shame, definitely.
Yeah, considering, what everyone lived through the last 3 years. I appreciate you joining us throughout these 3 years. And hopefully you'll keep on joining us on the show, but we'll have the opportunity to talk about
and we have to build the post-COVID agenda, the post-COVID reality. We have to make equanimous reading and interpretation, and we have to start writing the history of the pandemic
and how it happened.
But in a serene way, not with the heat of the emergency.
And putting politics aside.
Exactly.
And we'll talk about that once we start doing and kind of looking back what happened the last 3 years.
Absolutely.
The role of politics and all of this. I really appreciate you joining us throughout these 3 years. Dr. Marcelo Rodriguez, who's still member of this special committee for the UNAM to face COVID-19. He also teaches at the UNAM teaches at the
Faculty
UNAM
of Medicine.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's always a pleasure, Ana Maria. Thank you for the space.
Thank you. We're going to go to a commercial break. I'm Ana Maria Salazar, and you're listening and watching